We're now joined by Kelly Browning, who is Executive Director of Impact Teen Drivers. Kelly, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me on your show, Steve.
We will put up the website of Impact Teen Drivers. Tell us what the organization is and why it's so critically important with all the distractions around us with teen drivers, with all of us, but particularly teens.
Absolutely. Impact Teen Drivers is a nonprofit organization dedicated to stopping the #1 unintentional injury for young people, which are car crashes. In particular, we look at car crashes caused by reckless and distracted driving. You just noted your cell phone, which certainly is our newest nemesis and the one that most of us, our brain goes immediately to when we talk about distracted driving. But I think it's really important to recognize that this has been the #1 killer of young people long before cell phones came out. So there are many different types of distractions. We have visual distraction, which is anything that really takes our eyes off the road. Manual is anything that's kind of taken our hands off the wheel. And one that most of us don't think about is that cognitive distraction. It takes our mind off of our driving. And then, of course, even auditory distraction. If you can't hear, your ears aren't alert, that's a distraction. So there's 4 primary types of distraction. I always tell the young people that for us older folks that know the YMCA song still, you can just change the Y to a V and you kind of have the visual, the manual, the cognitive, and the auditory distraction. We have a lot of fun with that. So young people can think about it less as the tool that's the issue and more about the behavior.
So it's so interesting. We have a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old. By the time this airs, they'll be 18 and 20 because it's a couple weeks. It's going to sit in the can, if you will. But I realized that those are our 2 boys. And I realized that when we talk to them about this issue, it doesn't have the impact of watching what we do, meaning it ain't what we say, it's what we do. Is it not, Kelly?
That's exactly right. We always say, do as I say, not as I do. Didn't work for us. It certainly isn't going to work for our kids. A large component, a significant component of the program work that we do that's teen-centric is working with parents and talking to parents about being the driver they want their child to be. So, Steve, if you and I are driving down the road and we're doing, 5 miles over the speed limit while we're slugging back a latte and talking on the phone, we can't wonder why our young people are going to turn around and do 15 miles over the speed limit while they're live streaming and eating a double-decker taco or something. So our behaviors and are significantly influencing our young people. They've been watching us since they were forward-facing in a car seat for the past 15 years.
Has social media and the obsession that many have, not just young people, but let's talk about teens right now, the constant engaging on social media, I don't mean just texting, but beyond that, has it made the situation on the roads more treacherous, Kelly?
Absolutely. I think that's a big part of what we do is focusing less on that particular issue. I mean, let me say that different, less on what's the flavor of the month. So whether it's texting or social media, et cetera, and more trying to get young people to understand it's about the behaviors, again, those distraction behaviors. And I'll give you a real concrete example. A few years ago, we did a focus group and a young person came in and said, I'd never text and drive, that's just dumb. But 3 questions later, he said, I would never have to text and drive because I can just look at my Apple Watch. And he flipped his watch up so that and we had another young woman that did it with taking a selfie while the car is moving with the driver, but she would never text and drive. So if we just focus on that one thing versus really understanding how our behaviors and our lack of focus behind the wheel can become lethal, we're really missing the boat.
What about the alcohol piece of this?
Yeah, alcohol is really, really important. Impaired driving from an alcohol or drug standpoint is something we need to continue to message on. However, 75% of all fatal teen driving crashes actually don't involve alcohol and drugs. Steve, they're doing a better job than our generation did. They understand it. It doesn't mean there still aren't people doing it and that we shouldn't continue to educate and enforce against it. But the vast majority of young people in car crashes don't involve impairment. They're just making better decisions behind the wheel about impairment right now.
Let me ask you this. Our friends at NJM, New Jersey Manufacturers, have talked to us about this issue, pushed it for a long time. It's obviously part of what they care about. And so I understand a lot of their motivation. What's yours?
I have worked for years on behavior change with young people because I honestly have more confidence in young people to change the culture, in this case, the culture around driving and safe driving, so it's distraction free, than I do people my own age. And what I mean by that, early 1980s, 10%, 10 to 13% of us were wearing our seatbelts. Today, in most of our states, people are wearing their seatbelt and have seatbelt compliance as 90 to 94%. So we changed the culture, right? We stopped seeing it as government telling me to wear my seatbelt and started recognizing, gosh, this is actually a necessary safety device that could keep myself and my family safe. And that's really what I see with young people. I believe that young people can truly change this culture. Without NJM's support in our northeastern states, we wouldn't be able to offer our programming free to schools and communities. So we're really grateful for those public-private partnerships.
Yeah, but again, how did you get in? For you getting into this, I'm curious.
So my background is in criminology. That's what my Ph.D. is in. And I've always been interested in getting affect to get effect, regardless of what the issue is. I worked in homicide, suicide, substance abuse, and mental health. And this issue is the one issue that I really feel affects every single one of us. If we're a roadway user, whether we have kids or not, doesn't matter. If you ride bikes, if you walk on the sidewalks, this issue affects us. So it's something that I feel we know car crashes are preventable. We know what we need to do to prevent them. We just need to make those choices and decisions, behavior change to make that happen. So I love anything that has kind of that, it's a winnable battle. And I believe this truly is a winnable battle.
Kelly, P.S., before I let you go, do you have direct conversations with peers of yours about this, whether in the car with them or not, in terms of what they need to do?
Absolutely. We have to remember, adults, we are some of the worst. My kids will always say, my parents are the worst. They're the worst distracted drivers. What we try and talk to them about is how they can encourage their parents, their family members. Steve, we didn't start talking to kids about wearing seatbelts when they were 16. We started when they were in car seats. So we actually have elementary programs and middle school programs. And we talk to our colleagues. We have policies at my organization. We don't do any business while anybody's on the phone, whether they work for us or not. It's just safety first.
Kelly, I have a feeling you just helped a lot of people. Kelly Browning, Executive Director of Impact Teen Drivers. Their website has been up. Follow up, find out more. Kelly, I thank you for joining us and providing an important public service and public safety message. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Steve.
I'm Steve Adubato. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, Delta Dental of New Jersey, Valley Bank, NJM Insurance Group, the Fidelco Group, New Jersey Sharing Network, Johnson & Johnson, Rutgers University, Newark, and by Prudential Financial. Promotional support provided by bestofnj.com and by Insider NJ.
NJM Insurance Company has been serving New Jersey policyholders for more than 100 years. But just who are NJM's policyholders? They're the men and women who teach our children, the public sector employees who maintain our infrastructure, the workers who craft our manufactured goods, and New Jersey's next generation of leaders, the people who make our state a great place to call home. NJM, we've got New Jersey covered.